Hello, everyone. Let's tune into the energy surrounding you and explore what you no longer need to worry about. This message is for Aries Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. We're connecting with the energy that's present right now. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you come across it is exactly when it's meant for you. The Nine of Wands is fundamentally a card of earned resilience, not the kind of strength that comes from theory or motivation, but the kind forged through repeated challenge, disappointment, and recovery. It represents the moment in a cycle where you are not at the beginning of the struggle anymore, but not yet at the finish line either. You're in that final stretch where everything feels heavier than it should, not because you are weak, but because you have already been carrying so much for so long. At its core, this card says, you are still here, and that alone matters more than it seems in the moment. The Nine of Wands doesn't appear when life is smooth. It appears when persistence has already been tested multiple times, and yet something within you refused to collapse. This is often the point where people mistake exhaustion for failure. But the energy of this card suggests the opposite. You are not failing. You are simply tired from surviving a long process. A deeper layer of this card is about defensive awareness. After prolonged difficulty, people naturally become more guarded. You start anticipating problems before they arrive, scanning situations for risk, and holding your boundaries tighter. This is not paranoia. It is adaptation. However, the lesson of the Nine of Wands is learning the difference between healthy protection and unnecessary tension. Not every situation requires readiness for impact. Part of your growth here is realizing that you don't need to live as if the next challenge is always imminent. This is where an important psychological shift begins. The Nine of Wands often marks the moment when emotional fatigue starts to transform into clarity. You begin to see which struggles actually belong to your present reality and which ones are echoes of past experiences. Old patterns of stress, over-responsibility, or hypervigilance slowly lose authority. What once felt like, I must stay prepared at all times, begins to soften into, I can choose when to engage and when to rest. The Queen of Wands energy is showing up strongly for you right now. This is not a passive or uncertain energy. It's bold, magnetic, confident, and deeply self-assured. It's the kind of energy that walks into a room and doesn't ask for permission to exist. It simply is, and it naturally draws attention, respect, and even admiration without forcing anything. Some people may look at everything you're doing and think you're taking on too much, but honestly, that perception says more about their limits than your capacity. From a higher perspective, you're not overwhelmed, you're expanding. You're not scattered. You're multi-talented and in a phase of activation where different parts of your potential are coming alive at the same time. And yes, that can look intense from the outside. But the truth is, others may simply not be putting in the same level of effort that you are. You are operating in a different frequency of ambition and responsibility right now, where some people are comfortable with minimum effort or slow progress. You are in a phase where your inner drive is pushing you toward more growth, more results, more stability, more meaning. I see you working hard, staying focused, and constantly looking for new opportunities. Even when things feel unclear, there's a part of you that refuses to fully give up or settle. That persistence is important because it's building something underneath the surface that you may not fully see yet. Growth is happening even when the results aren't immediately visible. You may have felt stuck lately, as if you've been running into obstacles or not seeing the results you hoped for. That feeling can be frustrating because it creates doubt in your mind about whether you're even moving forward at all. But what you're experiencing is not stagnation, it's recalibration. Life is adjusting your path, redirecting you, and strengthening your foundation before the next level opens up. Some of you may have been stressing about school, finances, resources, your business, or even your relationship. That pressure can feel heavy because it touches the areas that matter most to your sense of security and future. When multiple areas feel uncertain at once, it can create the illusion that everything is falling apart, even when it's actually reorganizing. The Ten of Cups is coming through very strongly for you right now, and the deeper message behind it is one of emotional alignment, long-term fulfillment, and a sense that things in your life are quietly moving toward harmony. Even if you don't fully see the structure of it yet, there's a feeling here that something meaningful has already been set in motion behind the scenes. Not in a dramatic, sudden way, but more like a gradual unfolding, where decisions you made in the past, the energy you've invested in relationships, and the emotional intentions you've held are now starting to organize themselves into something more stable. It can feel subtle at first, like small improvements in mood, relationships softening, or moments of unexpected emotional clarity. The Ten of Cups is not just happiness in a surface sense, it's emotional completion. It speaks to peace within your family life, emotional security in your relationships, and the ability to feel at home within yourself, even if everything around you is not perfect. There is still a thread of inner alignment trying to strengthen itself. Now, one important layer here is how others perceive you. There may be people around you who misunderstand your emotional nature. They might label you as too giving, too attached, or too emotionally invested. They may say things like, you care too much about family, or that you are overly protective or expressive with love. But this reading suggests that your emotional depth is not a flaw. It's actually one of your strongest sources of alignment right now. You are someone who experiences life through emotional truth, not emotional distance. And that's exactly why the Ten of Cups shows up for you. Still, there's a caution embedded in this energy. Not everyone will understand your level of emotional investment, and not everyone deserves access to it in the same way. The challenge is not to shut down your heart, it's to protect its direction. In other words, keep loving deeply, but be mindful of where that love is going and whether it is being respected and reciprocated. You may also be feeling a subtle pressure from others that makes you question yourself. It might not always be direct criticism. Sometimes it shows up as tone, distance, comparison, or unspoken judgment. And if you're not careful, it can make you second-guess something that is actually aligned for you. The message here is very clear. Don't outsource your emotional truth to other people's opinions. The High Priestess often represents what exists beneath the surface, things that are felt, sensed, or intuitively known rather than openly shown. When this card appears in a reading connected to relationships, social circles, or your environment, it can point to subtle emotional undercurrents that aren't immediately visible. It may suggest that there is more happening around you than what people openly express. Some individuals might not fully reveal their intentions, opinions, or emotional reactions. This doesn't automatically mean hostility, but rather a layer of emotional privacy, unspoken comparison, or quiet observation. In some cases, it can indicate that not everyone in your surroundings is emotionally aligned with your growth or your current phase of success. Success and happiness naturally shift group dynamics. When you start doing well, improving your life, or stepping into a more confident version of yourself, it can unintentionally mirror back to others what they feel they are lacking or still working toward. The High Priestess highlights this psychological and emotional complexity. It reminds you that people may not always respond to your progress in the way you expect, not because of anything you did wrong, but because everyone filters your life through their own inner world. This card also speaks strongly about discernment. It encourages you to trust your intuition when something feels off, even if you can't logically explain it. You might notice subtle cues, energy shifts in conversations, lack of enthusiasm in certain people, or inconsistency between someone's words and actions. The High Priestess invites you to pay attention to those quiet signals instead of ignoring them or forcing situations to feel more comfortable than they are. However, the deeper message is not about suspicion or withdrawing from the world. It's about energetic boundaries and selective sharing. Not everyone needs full access to your journey, your plans, or your emotional highs. Protecting your inner world is not secrecy. It's maturity. It allows you to maintain peace while you grow, without unnecessary interference, comparison, or emotional noise. At the same time, this card gently reminds you not to fall into paranoia or assume negativity where none exists. Intuition is different from fear. The High Priestess teaches balance. Observe without overreacting, sense without assuming, and understand without becoming closed off. The most grounded approach is to differentiate between people who are simply neutral observers and those who are genuinely supportive of your growth. Supportive people feel consistent. They don't just celebrate you when it's convenient, but also show care when nothing is being gained. These are the individuals who respect your journey without competition or hidden discomfort. The Page of Pentacles is gently but firmly encouraging you to invest in yourself in a grounded, intentional way. This card is often seen as the student of the tarot deck, someone who is curious, open-minded, and ready to learn how to build a better life step by step. It doesn't promise instant transformation, but it does promise real, lasting growth if you stay consistent. At its core, this message is about development in every sense of the word. Not just external changes like appearance, habits, or routines, but a deeper commitment to your overall well-being. Spirit is guiding you to treat yourself as something worth cultivating, like a garden that needs care in multiple areas to truly flourish. That includes your physical health, your emotional stability, your mindset, and your spiritual connection. On a practical level, the Page of Pentacles often points to learning new skills or improving existing ones. This could mean educating yourself about nutrition, fitness, money management, or even emotional intelligence. It's a reminder that you don't need to know everything right now. You just need to be willing to start. Small, consistent efforts matter more than perfection or intensity. Mentally and emotionally, this card suggests building discipline in your thoughts. What you repeatedly focus on becomes your reality. So part of your self-investment is learning how to guide your attention, replacing self-doubt with curiosity and criticism with constructive reflection is part of the growth process this card is highlighting. Spiritually, the Page of Pentacles invites you to reconnect with a sense of purpose in everyday life. You don't need grand spiritual experiences to be evolving. Even simple acts, like being mindful during daily routines, practicing gratitude, or setting quiet intentions, can strengthen your inner alignment. The fact that you are already reflecting on your growth is a strong sign that you are in tune with this energy, Awareness itself is the first step of transformation. The Emperor card appears, and with it comes a strong message of structure, authority, and reclaiming control over your life. This is not just about external stability. It's about you stepping into your own power with clarity, discipline, and grounded decision-making. Now let's go deeper into what else is coming through for you. For you, my beautiful Aries, the energy right now is asking an important question. What are you still carrying that belongs to an older version of you? What worries, habits, or emotional attachments are you holding on to simply out of familiarity rather than alignment? There's a powerful energetic message showing up, an open portal. This symbolizes a real shift in your timeline, like a doorway quietly appearing that wasn't visible before. New opportunities are not only approaching, but already beginning to form around you. However, this portal only fully activates when you are willing to step forward without dragging the past with you. The guidance here is about responsiveness, not hesitation. When you feel a sudden pull towards something new, an idea, a person, a direction, a decision, don't dismiss it as random or overthink it until the moment passes. That intuitive pull is part of how this new path is communicating with you. Your job is to notice it and act when it feels aligned, even if it feels slightly unfamiliar or uncertain. At the same time, there is a clear instruction to release. Not emotionally suppress or ignore, but consciously let go. This may involve old fears about stability, past disappointments, or even identities you've outgrown. The Emperor energy supports this release because it replaces chaos with order, confusion with direction, and reaction with intention. A cleansing ritual is being highlighted as a symbolic reset for your energy field. You can take a shower or bath and intentionally bring salt into the process. As the water flows, imagine it not just cleaning your physical body, but also dissolving energetic residue, old thoughts, lingering emotional weight, and stagnant patterns that have accumulated over time. Let the water carry it away completely. While doing this, bring awareness to your body, especially your feet, because they represent your path forward and your connection to the ground you stand on. As the salt and water touch you, consciously affirm that anything heavy, outdated, or misaligned is now leaving your system. You are not forcing it. You are allowing it to exit. I hope this message resonates with you and supports your journey. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next reading. See you in the next one.